My number 2 pass rusher in the 2021 NFL draft is Gregory Rousseau, edge rusher out of Miami, similar to Joe Tryon. No 2020 film under his belt, did not play, opted out of the season. And so you got to go back to 2019. And for him, it's a unique set of circumstances because you got a fractured ankle in 2018, so really no ball in 18. You blow up in 19, and then the pandemic hits, and there's no 20 for you. And so all we got is 2019, essentially, is you're taking 1 year of this guy destroying college football, and you're running with that. And it's got to be good enough to satisfy spending a top 20 pick on Gregory Rousseau. And for some, it will, okay? And I get it. So let's flip his card over and talk about why he's going to, not only is he going to be a first round pick, but he's probably going to be a top half first round pick. So for me, his strengths, the first thing that jumps out at you is his size and his length. My God, is this guy super duper long? Pause, okay? Jesus, this man's arms extend forever, and so do his legs. I can't tell you how many sacks, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in terms of sack radius, but I can't tell you how many sacks this guy got by just his length. Just ridiculous, man. And I know those quarterbacks were like, there's no way this guy was supposed to get a piece of my ankle on this sack. I should have gotten away and been able to extend. And they weren't, because Rousseau just go gadget arms. So his size and length are the first things that jump out at you. And it's the thing that's going to get him drafted. You know, that and the athleticism and, you know, his body type and the projection. I told you with a lot of these guys, the college production isn't there, so you have to project. He's got numbers. It's only one season, but he's got numbers. He's got sneaky athleticism. And my comp, as you can see for him, is Chandler Jones. And I remember Chandler Jones coming out of Syracuse. And we'll talk about that more when we get to his comp. I don't need to get into that right now. But I remember looking at Chandler Jones and saying, man, this guy is a tall glass of chocolate milk. However, like, there's not enough quickness. There's not enough athleticism. He's just a long oof. And boy, was I wrong. You know, it took him a little while, I feel like, you know, to put it all together for Chandler Jones. I don't think the sack totals were great early on in his NFL career. I want to take a look at Chandler Jones's numbers in his career early on, because I mean, he came in the gate with 6 sacks. I mean, that's nothing to scoff at. But the numbers weren't tremendous, but 6 is a good starting point. I think tackles looked at him and said, hey, no way this guy's beating me, man. You know, he's big, he's long, he's goofy looking. Not to say that Gregory Rousseau is goofy looking, but his movement skills aren't dynamic right off the rip, where you go, whoa, 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 whoa. What in the hell was that? You know? And so I think his athleticism sneaks up on you. You know, you think you got this guy in front of you, one quick swipe of the hands, and he's by you, and he's so long that he takes 2 steps, and you're not even close anymore. He's eaten up all the grass that was between you, and he's past you in 2 steps. And you're like, what the hell just happened? And it's sneaky athleticism. Quickness. You see the quickness when he decides to just jump inside, when he decides, okay, I'm going to time this thing up. I'm going inside. Ain't a damn thing you can do about it. You don't really see it when he decides to go around. It's when he decides, I'm knifing into the backfield. Come hell or high water. I may jump the wrong gap, This running back may cut it back behind me, and we may give up an 8-yard run. But the payoff is, if I guess right, it's a 4-yard loss in the backfield. And even better, if it's a pass, I got him for a 9-yard sack. And that's when you see the quickness. When he decides, I'm going inside. Cover me, guys. I'm going inside. And he dips inside. Quick rip. Right off the snap. Good luck. As a guard, as a center, good luck. Start at the point of attack. That's when those arms come into play. He can just bench press you. Stand you right up at the point of attack and disengage, get to the ball carrier. He's got such a long radius, tackle radius, that stout at the point of attack really stems from his ability to just bench press guys, keep him off of his body and at a distance. Eats up grass quick, and that's why I kind of talked about with the quickness. It just happens so quickly, you know? He's in front of you. 3 steps later, he's past you and halfway to the quarterback already. And he's only taking 3 steps. It's amazing. So he's one of the, and Chandler Jones is the exact same way. Chandler Jones is one of those guys that, again, it's not quickness, it's not elite speed or any of that. It's his ability to win around the edge and then close the distance so quickly because his strides are so long and he eats up so much grass. He's on you in a hurry. Same with Gregory Rousseau. Sack radius. This is my favorite trait right now, is his sack radius. I can't tell you how many sacks that I watched him get that he had no business getting, other than he's 6'5", with, I'm going to guess that his arms are every bit of 34 inches, maybe even longer than that, if I had to guess. And he dives at a guy as they're trying to escape, and he gets a piece of the ankle, or he gets a shoestring, or he gets the back of a heel, and they go down. Like, watch him against Florida State in 2019. Think of this like a 4-sack game. 2 or 3 of those sacks are with that quarterback. I think it was Alex Hornibrook. Thinks he's getting away. Like, no way this guy's getting a piece. And he gets a piece. And you're like, come on, man. You're not supposed to be able to do that. I talked about this a while back, and I reference this quite often when it applies. But back in the day, on a game called NFL 95, and even to a lesser degree on the Sega Dreamcast, there was a game called NFL 2K. And it was 2K and 2K1. I don't know if they ever made it to 2K2 or not. And you would hit the dive button. It was the tackle button, but you could dive. And on NFL 95 back on Sega Genesis, I swear to God, you could dive about 10 yards and make a tackle. It's almost like Tecmo Bowl. And on 2K, you could dive like 8 yards. And a guy could be breaking away on what you think is a touchdown run, or you could have caught a deep ball, or you think you're in the clear, and then a guy dives 8 yards and clips your ankles. And you're like, come on, no way. That's Gregory Rousseau, man. I mean, he's diving and he's getting a piece, and you're like, that's not humanly possible. His sack radius is ridiculous. He stretches out an arm and he's running by you, but he gets a piece and he's got you. He's got a relentless motor, man. He just doesn't quit on plays. There's a relentlessness that I love in a 6'5", 260-pound plus guy that you don't often get. He plays until his tank is empty. Now, when his tank is empty, you got to get him off the field. And I thought there were too many times at the U where his tank was empty and they just left him out there to fend for himself. But he plays balls to the wall. So the tank is going to run low. You got to give him a blow and allow him to get some water and rehydrate it and back in the game. But he plays with a motor that I just love. Balls to the wall for as many snaps as you can give me. Tap on the helmet and I'm going to get you out of there. Versatility. They played this guy up and down the defensive line. Defensive end. 3-tech. Nose tackle. You name it, he played it. 1-tech. He was everywhere on that defensive line. You had to be paying attention because he could line up anywhere at any time. And so I think that versatility coupled with his size, his length, the quickness that I mentioned, the sack radius, or just the tackle radius, you call it whatever you like. All of those things make him an intriguing prospect because you can move him around. In obvious passing situations, you can kick him inside, reduce him. He can win with quickness, and you can put another rusher on the field. I mean, that's what you can get out of him. You can play him in a 3-4 defense, and he could be, I think, with some more weight, you could use him as a base 3-4 defensive end, a 5-tech. I think his talents might be wasted in that sense, but he could turn into Cam Jordan. Why not? But I think where he's best suited is a 4-3 defensive end, a base 4-3 defensive end, and you're hoping he turns into the guy I comped him to, which is Chandler Jones. And then the final strength is his upside, man. The 2019 upside. The stats from that season are eye-popping. They're ridiculous. There are games in there where there's 3 sacks, there's 4 sacks, there's 5.5 tackles for loss, and they're games that you're salivating over. You wish there just was more tape to see if that was a one-off season or if this is something sustainable for Gregory Rousseau. And he was just scratching the surface in 19. So some people may hold the inexperience against him, but 13 games, 19.5 tackles for loss, 15.5 of them were sacks, 2 forced fumbles, a pass breakup. I'd actually like to see that pass breakup number a little bit higher when you're 6'5" with his length. And you play on the interior a bunch. I'd like to see that number be more around 4 or 5. But look, man, that's a hell of a season for a guy that pretty much has never done it. And speaking of which, his weaknesses, he's extremely raw. Extremely raw. Why do I say that? And so the extremely raw nature of his game right now is centered around 3 things. All 3 of them, really. All of these are coupled together. He's extremely raw. Why? Because he's inexperienced. Why is he inexperienced? Because he fractured his ankle in 2018. And, oh, by the way, he's unrefined and undeveloped because he showed up at Coral Gables in Florida on the U campus as a 215-pound quarterback safety recruit. Okay? Let that sink in for a bit. He showed up in his freshman year, his true freshman year, as a quarterback safety recruit at 215 pounds. He redshirts and he sits out that first season, okay? That second year, he's bulked up into this 250-pound defensive lineman, and he fractures his ankle on the second snap of the first game or so, second game, whatever it is, early in that season. So it's a wash of a season there. And so 2019 is the only tape that you get. He's 260 by then, and he looks the part of a guy that is still growing into a 215-pound frame. And so all of this stuff kind of builds into it's kind of already ingrained into him being extremely raw. So when you look at the inexperience, you hate the fact that he didn't play and there's no tape from 2020. You would love for him to be able to put that out there so you would have more to work with, but he left a hell of a lasting impression on everybody with the 2019 tape. And look, all of that stuff, raw, inexperienced, undeveloped, unrefined, and the fractured ankle, they all tie into one another. You either love Gregory Rousseau or you don't love him. I love him because I project what he could be at the next level. And that's Chandler Jones for me. I comp him to Chandler Jones. I remember Chandler Jones coming out of Syracuse, looking at him and thinking, this guy is okay, but he's just big. He's just long. Pause. He's not a dynamic athlete. I don't know why he's going to go in the first round. He ended up going like 21st or whatever it was, right in the same area I see Gregory Rousseau going. My projection for him is the picks 15 through 25. Someone's going to fall in love, and it's going to be because of all of the things I talked about. And you're going to see the upside. And you're going to see 2019, and you're going to say, I can get this guy to do this on a consistent basis moving forward. And there's no limit to his upside, and the possibilities are endless with this kid. And remember, he's a sophomore, a redshirt sophomore that only played 1 year, that came to campus as a quarterback safety recruit at 215. Somebody's going to fall in love. So there's that. Gregory Rousseau, my number 2 pass rusher in the 2021 NFL draft.
Louie